I think one is that if we want to help people without, immigration status or a valid immigration status, we call them undocumented population, and if that's what we want, then they are 12 million undocumented immigrants
here in America,
in the United States. And although we have been deporting about over 350,000 every year, and I think we probably still have about 10 or 11 million of them. Again, the undocumented population will continue to grow.
Sure.
If we don't fix the system.
So what can we do to fix it?
So we have to urge the Congress to pass a law that's more humane, that makes more sense, and that will give people opportunity to legalize their status, to apply for immigrant status. Like I said in the very beginning, that the system does not allow people to apply for green card, for immigrant status. We have to change that and, make it easier for people to get immigrant status. Because now it's literally impossible for some people to legalize their status. So that's a fact. And then we can talk about, how do we as a community protect these people without immigrant status, if that's what we want, right?
I believe that. Of course that's what we want. If they're productive citizens and things of that nature, they're doing, it would be ludicrous to just snatch them up and where they at, where's John, where's whatever, it don't make any sense. And if there's 12 million here.
That's in the country.
In the whole country.
Right. We're not talking about Plainfield, we're not talking about New Jersey alone.
Right.
In New Jersey, I think the estimate is about half million.
Do we have 12 million in Jersey?
No,
I don't think we got 12 million.
no.
I don't think the state is that big.
We only have 8 million people.
How many?
In total, 8 million people.
8 million people in Jersey?
In Jersey.
Oh, we do? I didn't think it was that big.
Yeah, it's similar to the population of New York City.
Oh, New York City, not New York State.
No, New York City.
New York City.
And then similar to the state of New Jersey.
Okay.
And then we have about 500,000 undocumented immigrants in New Jersey. Just the people who are out of status, and we're not counting the children that are living in those households. Because parents, if they don't have legal status, they cannot find a job.
Sure.
And whether the children were born here or not, will experience more hardship. Imagine if you don't have any income, and that you go out and you're afraid.
Sure, of course, and that is no good.
And they probably won't even socialize with other parents, and
that hurts the kids too. One thing I think that we've learned on the American journey is that a lot of our strength comes from psychological strength, and if the parents are afraid to communicate with others, that's going to affect the household. Even though you may have kids that's American because they were born here, still a parent is afraid to death that they're going to be sent back any day and a week and twice on Sunday, and every day becomes a problem even for the kids, psychologically. So we want to do something to protect those that's here. So that the idea is, what can we do? What should we be asking for? Because it don't make any sense that 12 million people in the United States that's undocumented, and to say that we're going to send all 12 million of them back, and then they've got great roots here in the United States. I think that to me, and I guess just coming from a lay position, is that it would cost more money to send them back, and it would create so much hardship to the kids that's here, the family members that here, that it would just be, to me, it don't make don't amount to a hill of beans. And I think that somehow we have to figure out how to make these people, to give them legal status here in the United States, because I mean, what are we doing here?
Well, I do think that immigration is a tough issue. It's a very emotional issue for anybody to touch upon, but that should not stop us from talking about it. We should start talking about it, and we should continue talking about it if we are already talking about it.
Sure.
Why people come here, and whether people should have the opportunity to pursue better lives. And I think the answer is yes. I think that, I come here for a better opportunity, and, if I'm gonna have family here, I want my children to stay here, and then, that's
because here now you're American though. It's like if I went to China, right? Not saying you're from China, but if I went to China and I stayed there some time, you know what I mean? And I'm Chinese. You know what I'm saying? If I'm engrossed in their society and things of that nature, might not want to come back,
right.
or whatever the case may be.
And it is a global world, right?
Of course it is. I think we're growing more towards
globalized.
global
and then the reason we're very proud to be here is because we have a very diverse community.
Sure.
That we enjoy the multicultural that we have here, and that's beneficial. That's not negative. And I think that the influence or influx of immigrants actually adds more to the community.
Sure.
And I think that's something that most people agree. So if that's the case, look at why people move, right?
Mm-hmm.
That changing the law or having a better immigration law to facilitate or to give people opportunity to in order to do that, it's essential. It's basic. It's unquestionable. So the thing is that if, let's say, Congress or the government continue to not act on immigration reform or not change the immigration system, then the citizens have to force them to do it, to have them talk about it.
Sure.
And to speak very loud about it, each one of us. Simply because, we often sometimes are lazy and about, this is not at my face and I'm not going to do it, I'll do it tomorrow. We don't, right? We wait until it's at our face that my friend is being deported or my neighbor is being deported, then we act on it.
Until it touches us personally.
And that's really late.
Well, we had a similar experience we similarly experienced something like that with the civil rights movement. Mm-hmm. That there were people that did not believe the work of Dr. King and others years ago that was right, that should be bothered with. Some people even made, if you look at some old footage, I'm sure you can find on YouTube today, everything is on YouTube, that there was even some black Americans that was here when the country basically first started, that said, Dr. King, the stuff he's talking about, he's stirring up trouble because they had become conditioned to the way. Say, they're over there, we over here, the white folks over here, and we over here, so everything is okay. And we're going to look for trouble, and you're always going to have that element. Mm-hmm. But again, you're also going to have people that pop up out of nowhere, like a William Kunstler. If you remember, William Kunstler used to be a lawyer in New York. Mm-hmm. And why did William Kunstler fight for civil rights and things of that nature? And the kind of lawyer, he didn't have to be that kind of lawyer. But why, and if I can quote one of the words I think I heard him say years ago as a kid, William Kunstler said, the reason why I do what I do is because I'm trying to keep you from becoming too powerful. In other words, you can be dangerous to yourself, and so I think that none of us are trying to make a name. None of us are trying to become the next Dr. King or the next star. But when we see an issue at hand, who are we not to, say, hey, you know what, that's not right. Mm-hmm. I guess that that right there would be the right thing to do, is to continue to fight for those that want to fight. Not everybody is conditioned to go the distance on the fight and things like that. Not everybody's going to wave their hand. Some people are going to be those that's just going to go along with people. But and be honest, I kind of lost my train of thought. I'm sure the public would notice that right there. But in truth, we all have to at some point sit down and say, hey, what are we doing? Being in the United States, I was born and bred, grandmother, great-grandmother, and all that. Would I want to be any place else? I'm not taking from any other land, but I know this land, and I know many people flocked here, and you know, so at this point of challenge, you know, I guess